Good morning, everybody. We are really excited to start this day off with you. Before we get started, please make sure that you have registered for the event. So that way you receive our agenda in your email and we get you everything that you need for your PD credit for the day.
Can you see it now?
We sure can, Katie.
Okay, awesome.
Yay.
That was fun.
We are ready when you are.
All right. So, okay. Let me just make sure. So if I have a double screen, oh, it's showing there. Okay, yeah, so right now sorry, trying to figure out my screens. So can you still see my screen or did I stop sharing?
We cannot. We see your beautiful face.
All right, which one do you want me to have on then to start? Should I have the presentation up or just me and then I can go to the presentation when we start?
Yeah, we'd like to see you because that way we can introduce you and make sure that all is well.
Great. All right, I'm ready when you are.
We're going to give everyone a little bit more time to make sure they're logged in and ready to go. So we'll be starting in just a few minutes. If you haven't already, please make sure that you've registered for the event so you get our day's agenda. That is where you'll find all the YouTube links you need for the sessions you'll be attending. And that's where we will email you how you get your PD credit for the day. So please make sure you're registered. We'll start in just a few minutes now. All right, good morning, everyone. We are just about to get started. So I just wanted to introduce myself first. My name is Caitlin Callahan. I am one of the leaders for the Northern KY Go Digital Regional. My partner in crime is not here today, Amelia Brown. She was unable to make this actual event, but she's been doing a lot of the behind the scenes work. And our other partner, Elaine Abanatha, is here with us today. Elaine, are you able to chime in? Say hi.
Hello, everyone. So glad you are joining us. We have tons and tons of awesome learning today, and we are thankful that you are here. And Katie is going to share some awesome stuff with us, and we're thankful to have her too. So make sure that you're registered if you're online, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us as well. You can get us on email, or you can reach us out on Twitter. So with that, Caitlin, you want me to pass it on to you?
Yep. So we're just going to introduce ourselves a little bit more and thank a couple of people before we get to our keynote speaker. So we are Kentucky Go Digital. We're a movement that's moving across the state of Kentucky and even reaching outside of our borders, which is very exciting. We have some educators joining us from outside of the state today. So we are
So as always, something, not always, but sometimes technology just goes a little crazy, and Katie, we can't hear her, but I know she had some awesome stuff that she's going to say about, or not Katie, Caitlin, awesome things to say about Katie, and we're just going to let you go ahead and get started. I know that our viewers can't wait to hear you, and without further ado, we have Katie Martin.
Awesome. I'm kind of glad that worked out. I'm sad to hear, Kate, I was like, is it my fault? This morning is definitely a morning that I have high empathy for educators trying new things. As I'm getting ready to do my first digital keynote, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, but exciting to try something new. And so I'm excited to lean in and share a little bit. Looks like Caitlin is back. I just want to thank both Elaine and Caitlin for the opportunity. This whole movement is really exciting to see what's possible when we can connect and share ideas. And I'm excited to share a little bit of my experience today as an educator, as a mom, and just seeing what's possible in our schools. And really excited for all of you to have the opportunity to not only share your ideas, but connect with each other. And I know that's the theme of today, to create, connect, and share. And it's so important because I truly believe that is how we are going to continue to evolve and make change in our schools. So I'm going to share my screen in just a little bit, but I wanted to share just a little bit about me, and then I'll start with a little bit of my story. But I am VP of our professional learning at Alt School, which is an organization, a company that really is focused on shifting to learner-centered, and I get to work with awesome educators every day. And that's part of what I want to share with you, is just a little bit about what I'm seeing and a little bit about what's possible in education today. So everyone has experiences, of course, and our own experiences shape who we are and how we view the world. So I want to start and share a little bit about my story. Let me see if I can connect. All right, wish me luck. Elaine, can you see the slides?
Not yet.
All right. Test 1. That's because, okay. I'm going to share. Let's try this again.
All is good. We can see you.
All is good. It's great to be with educators who can help each other out. All right. So I'm going to start. This is a picture of my mom and I when I was in 4th grade. And this is especially important to me because my kids are now finishing both 3rd and 4th grade. And so I can remember myself at this age, and it's fun to think about the experiences that they have as well. But I also wanted to share this particular picture because I grew up, and my kind of experience in school was very much shaped by my mom and her path as an educator. I grew up in her classroom and seeing the way that she really looked at kids. She had cardboard in her classroom and computers 25 years ago, and she was always trying to figure out new ways to meet the needs of all her students. And so growing up with her, I thought, this is how all educators should be, and this is the most amazing classroom. But I didn't always find myself in my own education having the same types of teachers or experiences. And many times in my own education, I felt pretty disconnected and like I was just going through the motions. I loved school because I loved the people and I loved being able to connect with friends, but I didn't always feel very inspired or that what I was doing had a lot of purpose. So now I, have also the experience. I went into school and I became a teacher, but I also am shaped by my husband, who is a teacher, who we met, teaching in Hawaii, and when I was a 7th grade teacher, and my kids and their own experiences. Now, like I said, they're in 3rd and 4th grade. So it shapes how I see the day-to-day experience. And these are some pictures of my students when I was a 7th grade teacher. I always, because of my own education and not feeling very connected, when I went into school, when I became a teacher, I really wanted to make sure that I didn't create the same opportunities that I had in school. I wanted kids to choose books that they love. I wanted them to have fun. My 7th graders even convinced me to make snowballs in Hawaii, which is very difficult and messy. But I felt like it was so important to not only force the academics, but really support kids as they grew as people and help them learn how to interact, find information, and solve problems that mattered to them. So that's kind of how I've come to this space in education, through my own experience, through my own kids and what I see through my husband, and then today what I continue to see as new opportunities in the many classrooms and educators that I get to work with. But I want to dive in a little bit more and share an experience that has really, really influenced me lately. This is my son, Zach, and these are a few pictures that really just share a little bit about him. He loves to read Harry Potter. He's very proud that he just finished the series. He's a good friend. He, just turned 9 years old. He loves to play sports, and I'm proud of his sportsmanship and how he works well with his teammates. And he is just the sweetest little guy. He leaves me little notes, and just really, really kind kid. And especially since he loves Harry Potter, he identifies as a Hufflepuff. And so he says, "Mom, they're the best. They love animals just like me." And so I just see what a kind and capable kid he is. And I'm so excited for his possibilities and what he can accomplish in life. But something happened recently when we started to get his report cards in 7th grade. So this is, if you can see, his report card in 7th grade or in 2nd grade, and you can see 2s and 1s. And all of you know in education, the 2s and 1s are not the marks that you really want to go for in education. And especially I see in language arts, he's moving from a 3 to a 2. He started moving from a 2 to a 1. And he sent home this, his teacher sent home this worksheet recently. And I thought, this does not look good. I can barely read it, buddy. And then I looked down at where it says headline, and it says, the headline, write the headline of the article here, write it here. And I see my son writes it. These are the things that you see on Pinterest and memes, other people's kids, certainly not my kid being kind of the smart aleck in class and not trying and being disengaged. So we started talking, and I started noticing more and more that he was frustrated in school. He didn't want to try. And I thought, this is not a good sign. And then one night, Zach and I was putting him to bed and being disengaged. so we started talking. Oh, I hear background. Sorry. And so then Zach said to me, Mom, you were working so hard to fix schools and it's not working. And I thought at this moment, I didn't know what to do, but I certainly knew that this was a mom fail, if anything, that my son knows that at this point in second grade, he is so over school and he's frustrated. And knowing the research in education, I knew that this wasn't going to improve. So I knew that when, you see the Gallup poll here, students who from fifth grade on have less and less opportunities to do something that they find interesting at school. They'll have less opportunities to have fun at school and don't often do things that they like. And this decreases engagement over time. And so seeing Zach and what he was doing and how frustrated he was, I thought, this isn't likely to improve unless I do something dramatically different and our family does something different. So what we ended up doing, this is Zach, this year in third grade, we ended up moving him to a new school. We moved him from a school that was the highest performing in the county, a really well-known school, and most people thought I was crazy. But I knew that my son was not thriving and I had to find a different place for him. And so we moved him to a school where it was more diverse and they really focused on relationships and social emotional learning, as well as academics in a more project-based, authentic environment. And when I found out from his teacher, instead of the 2s and 1s, what I got back from his teacher when we did his student-led conference, his teacher said, Zach is a wonderful friend. Zach jumped into his new school and his classroom and has flourished. He's kind and welcoming. And when I got this type of feedback instead of numbers, I thought, oh my gosh, this teacher knows my son. She totally gets what an awesome kid he is and sees him for his many talents. And then when I saw his areas of growth, Zach is working on compromising or problem solving. He's working on meeting in the middle of multiple points of view. I thought, wow, she really knows my son. And he's very much like his father, of course, having trouble meeting in the middle, not me at all. But she sees this, and I know that there's areas not only of strength, but areas of growth that she's going to help work with him on. And so the reason I think this story is important to tell is Zach has moved from one school to another school, and the schools themselves have the same 4 walls, they have the same testing restrictions, they have the same standards, same expectations, but a different way of looking at learners and a different way of viewing learning as a more holistic process and really taking in the learner's needs and strengths. And this difference has made all the difference in the world for my son and our family, to see him go from frustrated and disengaged to someone who's happy, who feels supported, and who feels like he can really do awesome things in school. And so we know that what makes a great teacher is their ability to connect with students. If you see these students' comments here, they're small, but it's a happy teacher, a loving teacher, a caring teacher, but one that can also help make learning authentic. And I know so many of you here today are doing just that, because you're here on your summer break and you're really diving in to learn. And it's amazing to see what's possible when a teacher, it's amazing to see what's possible and what a teacher can do for a student. So I want to shift a little bit and think about what's possible with educators. I know the relationships matter and creating that learning environment, but we also have to take into account, many people say kids are different today. And it's true, our world is totally different today. And we have new resources and new opportunities that didn't exist. So I think of 2006, if you look at this list, all of the things that didn't exist, an iPhone, Instagram, Snapchat, Kindle, iPad. It's amazing to think, 13 years ago, when many of the kids who just graduated were starting school, these things were not in existence. and how quickly our world is changing. I can't even imagine what is going to happen in the next 13 years when my kids are graduating high school and starting college. The other thing to think about is the skills that the workforce says are important. If you look at these top 20 skills in 2020, you see complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity. These top skills are not only things that we say in school because they're, we think they're important. The workforce is also saying that these skills are absolutely critical to support students in developing so that they can get jobs and be successful. So as we think about our schools were designed for an industrial era. They were designed 100 years ago for standardization, compliance, isolated content, and really to complete tasks. But as we shift with technology and new resources that are to this post-industrial world, we're looking at more personalization, more learner agency, authentic application, and competency-based learning. And I'm encouraged, as I've been to over 500 classrooms in the last 5 to 7 years, and I have seen this shift happen more and more. I'm seeing more educators being able to connect with students, teach in ways that are authentic and meaningful. And in doing this, I often see how teachers are also more inspired and motivated to teach because they get to bring their creativity and their passion to the classroom and not just move through standardized curriculum. So if we think about technology today, many people are saying technology is the silver bullet, and it's awesome. I mean, we're all here connecting this morning across different time zones and across states because of technology, and it's afforded us so many opportunities. But if we don't really think about changing the classroom and changing our learning experiences to align to that, in too many cases, I see we just add technology and add resources, and it continues to be more and more rather than really changing the way we can learn and changing how we connect. These are 3 classrooms that I like to kind of point out. A lot of times we talk about personalization and 21st century classrooms. And in one classroom, we have students who are copying words from a textbook and memorizing the 50 states. And technology is used for isolated programs, and it's sitting there in the center of the table, if you see over here on the far left, but not really changing anything. And it's a similar classroom that we've seen year over year. Whereas the center classroom, we look at all the students have devices, but curriculum is more digitized and allows for students to go at their own pace. But you see that the students are all still doing the same thing, and very little opportunities for voice and choice or to choose the path that they want to go on. And if we think about this and we think about the opportunity and access, we say we need kids to be prepared for jobs that we yet don't know about, yet we are preparing them in ways that are standardized and linear. So the third classroom is really an opportunity to think about how we can integrate subjects and allow for kids to drive their own learning and be solving problems that are meaningful to them while still having rigorous content and high expectations to meet the standards. So I'm excited to share a few examples of what that looks like for you today. And just a reminder, the key to 21st century education is not the technology. It's helpful, but it's the evolving role of the educator and how you create these experiences that really is the power in the classroom. So I often share these characteristics of learner-centered experiences, and it's really about how we create those more personal opportunities where there's agency and opportunities for questions and collaboration, where learning is challenging but fun because we're getting critique and revision. We have different goals and accountability, and we all are getting to the same place, but we can move there in different ways. And then often having models and reflection are so critical to this learning process. So the first shift that I want to share with you today is really about moving from standardization to personalization. And I always love this beam because I think we talk a lot about personalization, but sometimes it looks like the first classroom and the second classroom where it's just about technology rather than really being about the person. And I see so many opportunities to actually make learning about the individual. And this is an example from Odyssey STEM Academy, a school in Los Angeles, outside of LA. And if you can see on the left, they're looking at each learner and they have them identify their strengths, their interests, things that they're good at, values and personality traits, and also things that they want to do. And then these students are actually working together to construct and solve problems and make things, and creating and researching based on things they're interested in and that are meaningful to them. So when I talk about moving from standardization, where we all move and do the same thing, to really creating cultures where we look at the student as an individual and create experiences that support them, this is part of bringing the learners into the process. One thing I often remind educators is I don't think that one teacher can personalize for 20 kids, let alone 200 kids. So what we really have to do is bring the learners into the process and help them be part of it, not someone who is just a recipient of their education. And so part of this is just asking kids, what is it that you care about? These are some of the questions I find really important to ask students, but also educators as well. When people feel that you care about them and that you're invested in who they are and what they care about, then I have found over and over again that they will go to the ends of the earth to do things for you because they feel cared about and valued. And so the second shift that I see is it's tied very much to the first one, but from compliance to learner agency, moving from you have to do this and just go through the motions to really, like I said, involving learners in the process. And an example of what that looks like is in Kettle Moraine. This is in Wisconsin, and this is a kindergarten through third grade band. These teachers are sharing students and helping them move at their own pace. And students in their writing get to choose what they're working on. They can decide based on these competencies what they need help on, and there's different cards for support. They use their peers, they set some goals for themselves, and then the teachers are there to support, and they have resources. And you can see the benchmarks of where students are. They can assess and move along that continuum with the resources rather than everybody having to get the same lesson at the same time. And it looks like students, as little as kindergarten, second, third, all the way up to high school, really deeply involved in the process because they're setting their own goals, because they have opportunities to connect with people that matter and do things that are interesting to them. And when I walk into classrooms and see students so deeply involved in their learning and taking ownership of it, I think that we are definitely making serious strides, and it makes me so happy to see this agency and how empowered students are. So the third shift is really moving from isolated content to authentic application. And so if you take these personal learning experiences and allow for more learner agency, we also can move to a place where we create opportunities to not only learn about math or reading or writing or social studies, but to really integrate all those subjects to learn in ways that are meaningful and mirror the world that we live in. So this is an example from a 5th grade class in Vista. Camille has really created a project that is focused on learning from the past to inform the future, and it includes science and social studies. Students are reading and writing and really learning about the world, but actually using skills and developing skills in a really authentic way. They even created a PSA announcement for how to recycle at lunch. And it's so fun to see their communication skills and how they had to work together to create this production. Another example in Cajon Valley, they have really supported the world of work, which means helping kids understand how their skills and their talents and their interests really connect to the broader world of work and where they can find value and passion in their day-to-day lives and have some aspirations. So they're doing this class that was doing a project on entrepreneurship. Each of the students had ideas of things they wanted to sell. They created a business, and they had these really unique contributions that they made and things that they were selling to their families. But not only were they just selling things and learning how to run a business, when I talked to them, they knew how to work together. They were thinking about their own skills and how they contributed to the community as well as their classroom. And the joy and energy in this classroom from both the teachers and the students was absolutely amazing. And so the final shift is really about measuring standards to broadening our definitions of success. And when we do this, we don't just look at the standards, we look at the learners and their agency, their opportunities to set goals, to know their strengths, but also the academic mastery. We see that they can collaborate with others and use those skills to actually solve problems that are meaningful in the world. And one of my favorite examples that I like to share is this from Kim Cockwell, where students in 4th grade were interviewing community members, understanding problems that exist in the world, and then coming back and creating their own solutions and working with the community to figure out how to revise their solutions so that they can make a difference, not only in their school year, but actually in the community. So I share these examples because I think it's really important. I have the benefit of getting to see so many different classrooms. And I think just like today, connecting and sharing and seeing what's possible, my hope is that it can validate some of the things that you're doing. It can push some thinking and also help you think about what's possible in schools. So I know I'm running out. I have a few last slides that I just want to share. And this is just an example. I often share these cake pops as a reminder that they look so beautiful. And my daughter had asked me to make some cake pops for her birthday. And I thought, sure, I'll go on Pinterest and figure it out. No big deal. But when I actually tried to make them, they looked like this. And she was not impressed, of course. But I highlight this because it's part of the process. And too often in education, we don't share our process. We want to share the perfect end result, which often inhibits many people from seeing the process and feeling like they can also do it in their classroom. So I want to remind us that learning is a process, and you guys are all here today and going to learn some amazing things, but that's part of it. But if we don't go back and try things out, get some feedback, see what works, see what doesn't, then we miss out on lots of opportunities to really shift what's possible in our schools. So I encourage you today and always to celebrate what's positive. We often have a deficit mindset in education and we focus on what's wrong, but there are so many awesome things happening in our schools, in your practice, and in teachers across your schools and across the country. So please keep sharing and celebrating. Open up your doors to learn from each other, invite people in, invite yourself into others. Keep learning, collaborating, and sharing, because that's how we're really going to continue to work together. This work is too hard to do alone, and there's too much to learn to figure it out in isolation. So a reminder, these are my 2 kiddos again, and I have seen the power of a teacher and what's possible when we really look at learners and their needs and their interests and allow them to be part of the process. We can shift from a culture that the downward engagement to really increasing engagement and creating opportunities on a daily basis for kids to know that they have strengths and values and use their interests to do amazing things. And when I talk to parents across the country, I know that, and and other educators, they always say, we want teachers to know this. We love you, we trust you, we care about you and appreciate what you do for our kids, and we value our kids' well-being as much as their academics too. So I think if we continue to work together as educators and families and community members, that I am encouraged to see what's possible, and we can continue to make a positive impact on kids across the world. And I'm so grateful for all you do, and thank you for allowing me to share some of my ideas with you today.
Well, Katie, thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know if you remember or not, but I had led a book study on your book last summer, and our PTA president had joined in on that too, and we just had so much to share together, and there were just so many aha moments in your book. It was just amazing. And I think one of the most important things about your message and making these shifts for our students is that we need to make them for our educators too. And one thing you talk about in your book is if we want our students to learn this way, then we need to make sure our educators are learning this way too. We've all been in PD sessions before where we're sitting there thinking, when am I ever going to use this? Or this does not apply to me at all. And that's kind of what today is all about. So I really want to thank you for bringing that message to us.
Well, thank you. And thank you for creating this opportunity for teachers to learn in new ways so that they can create those opportunities for their students.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you are a track leader, if you haven't already started your broadcast for your track, I'm going to send you on to do that now. Real quick, since I didn't get to share my slides before, technical difficulties. But real quick, we wanted to just give a shout out. Let me share my screen. Shout out to a couple people, and then we will show you where you need to go next. So real quick, I wanted to send out a really big thank you to all of our team leaders and presenters for the Northern team that is going to rock it out today. I want to send a thank you to our KY Good Digital team. This is a team of rockstar women educators across the state that have been, sorry, I don't know if you can see my screen or not. But
you're good, Caitlin.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they have been so supportive in this planning of the event. They do have regionals that are happening across the state later in the summer. So make sure you use that same registration link to check out the sessions that are close to you. That's an awesome way to actually physically connect with people. A big shout out to NKCES, the co-op, and NKU for partnering with us. We know some people are physically on the NKU campus today viewing, so we want to give a big shout out to you guys. Thank you for not only taking this step to learn over on your summer break, but also to connect with each other. That's awesome. And then a big shout out to Petter Business Solutions because they were responsible for making these awesome purple KY Good Digital t-shirts that all of our presenters will be wearing today. And one last shout out and thank you to the most important people, and that's to you, all of our educators that are viewing today and signing up because you know the value in connecting with each other and learning from each other. So we want to give a big shout out to you. We'll have a couple different Twitter challenges for you throughout the day to earn some prizes. One is to earn some KY Good Digital laptop stickers. So even if you don't need a sticker, if you already have one, we still want to hear from you and see where you're learning today. And we want you to share your learning. So whether you're in your PJs, on your couch, on your patio, in a Starbucks with a friend, make sure you tweet out a selfie of how you're learning from KY Good Digital today and make sure to include the hashtag. And I think that's about it. We want to thank Katie again for an awesome keynote. Your next steps are going to be to access this agenda that should have been emailed from you or to you. If you did not get that agenda for some reason, the link is right up here until it loads. Okay, so the link is right up here. You can just type that in, bit.ly/KGD virtual. That is case sensitive, so make sure you type it in right if you don't have the agenda already. From the agenda, you're just going to click on the track that you're wanting to view. This will bring you to the presenter's slides. And on the right-hand side, it's going to give you to the YouTube Live link. So if I want to join the elementary track, it will bring me to the slide where I see all of our presenters. If you need copies or want copies of the slides that they're using during their presentation, they're linked here for you to use as reference later. Your YouTube Live link is right up at the top. So once you click on that, it'll take you right to the YouTube channel, and then you're good to go. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet out to us or email Elaine or myself. But I think that's about it. So we are going to go ahead and send you on to your morning sessions. I'll leave this YouTube channel open for a bit if you have questions and need to pop into the chat. But go ahead and start moving to your track on the agenda so you can start viewing your morning session.
All right, I'm going to hop off. I just want to say thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Katie. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too. Enjoy. It's an awesome event. Thanks for including me.
All right, thank you.
Bye.